Ladies and gentlemen, guys, gals, non-binary pals, welcome to an episode of Fully Charged. We haven't done this in a while. It's a bunch of new faces. My name's Wandum, and I'm here to take you through a little bit of a preview for the upcoming ETF2L season. It's the ETF2L Winter Showdown 2023. I've joined here today by a bunch of experts in their field of TF2, and Lucky is here as well.
I knew it. It was gonna happen straight away.
Yeah.
How you doing? You alright?
Yeah, I'm good. We had setting this up is always a great time, but joining us as well, you can see we've got Ams,
Hello.
we've got Papi,
Hello.
and we've got dmoule.
Yes, hello.
Hello, dmoule.
It's a great picture. You've got them all on the stream.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And Pappy's with his microwave mic. It's a good time all around. I guess we're here to talk about the Winter Showdown. That's what we're going to call it from now on, because we've given up with season numbers and we're moving forwards to titles now for ETF2L seasons. In terms of Prem, looking at it on the surface, any strong opinions coming out from people like off the top of their heads, like Pappy? Any teams that you see there in Prem this season that you're like, ooh, that aren't TF2 easy, that you're going to smack around a bit?
Wait, what do you say? Teams that we're gonna smack around?
Well, not teams that you won't smack around. Any teams that you're a little bit like, oh, these teams are actually good, you know.
I think Defense surprised me. I think they look pretty good. I think Rons and Bruceman are really nice soldier combo. They have Delhi now, and yeah, I think Defense are going to be a dark horse if I had to predict anyone.
Yep. Anyone else? Ams? Is anyone giving you trouble in scrims?
Yeah, lots of teams actually. No, but yeah, I think the bronze team's gonna be good. I think something I noticed is that all the teams, like every single team that I look at, looks like a good team. I guess the Natty New team is like a bit of a question mark, and the Sneaky team, I don't know what they're called. I guess they're like probably like slightly lower skill level than the rest. I think like top 6. All the teams are very good, so I think it's going to be like a really close season. Besides maybe like Vidna still being pretty far ahead of everybody else, but that's one thing I noticed is that there's like a lot of good players playing this season.
What about you, dmoule? Who's looking scary from your POV?
I agree with what Papi and Am said. I think Witness and the rest there's a gap, but from second to like 5th or 6th place, it's kinda close. And from what I've seen in the scrim results and stuff, they are trading maps every teams.
Hell yeah. All right. I want to ask you guys really quickly, how, on a scale of 1 to 10, Pappy, how would you say this offseason has been for you? Just like quick.
The off season,
How many games of Dota have you queued, first of all?
I think it's been almost 3 months. Am I right? I think the last game we played at ETF2L was the weekend after Arcadia. And Arcadia was November, that last week of November. So I think ETF2L was first weekend of December, would be my guess. That's almost 3 months. That's like 2 months, 3 weeks. Off season has been long. I have played too many pugs. I did not really enjoy the off season. But the roster shuffles and stuff have been very interesting, I think. I think every team's made a change. Am I right in saying that? I think literally every single team has a change. Some cool new teams have been formed. Some teams have been like gutted and remade. Some teams aren't here anymore and haven't qualified, unfortunately. But yeah. No, I think, I mean, off season's just not as fun because it's not a season to play for. There's nothing to grind for. No, yeah.
No coins in the bucket.
Yeah.
Nothing to really go for. Yeah. I mean, I don't blame you guys. From like speaking to like a bunch of other Prem players as well, I feel like it's more of a I think it's more of a case of, I don't know if you agree with the Sams, it's unless you're like coming up and bringing a new team to the season, if you know you're going into the next season with an already established team, you don't want to burn out as much in the preseason, and it's kind of like you play too much, maybe. Is that kind of the case?
Yeah, I think a lot of teams like to take at least some kind of break between the seasons, and I think it's good. I don't think you want to just play. I think it's good to take a break, but my team like was kind of forced to take a break with Condog being gone for like a couple weeks, and then we had like a lot of lineup issues. So in our case, I would have liked to just keep playing the whole offseason, try to figure things out. So that kind of limited us. I feel like we have some like catching up to do now. I think for like an established team that's been playing, and if the roster's gonna stay about the same, I think it's a good idea to take a break, and I think that's what most teams do.
We touched a little bit on the team that didn't make it in, that we thought probably would make it in. We saw the League of Shadows a couple nights ago. They was it last night actually? No, it was a couple of nights ago. It's a couple of nights ago at the League of Shadows. They lost in the Prem qualifiers to Natty Newt, who actually are now in Prem instead. Bunch of new and up and coming names. We'll talk about them in a second. You guys all watched the incident, let's call it that. Any thoughts? Any reactions? What do you think went wrong for this League of Shadows roster? Because on paper, it feels like this team should be Prem.
Hands up who didn't watch the game, because I watched it.
I watched it. I actually missed the first map because I had a class, but then I watched the second map and I rewatched the first map on Am's stream. As he watched it back. I think I don't know. There's probably some nerves or something kicking in for the Flick team, and just feeling like you can't lose. And then when you start losing, it just gets made worse, and you play worse, you make worse decisions, and you start trying to do too much and all this stuff. But yeah, I mean, I was pretty surprised, to be honest. I really did not expect Newt to win. I think from what I saw from the Am stream after, like of them in the game, I think I don't want to be too mean, but I think the like macro decisions on the Flick team were like bad, like game losing bad. Like you shouldn't win, and I think their mid fights were pretty bad as well, especially on Snake. Snake mids looked really questionable. And I actually went through demos the night before with Chris, so maybe it's my fault.
Oh, maybe it is your fault.
I tried to help, and I think I didn't help. I think I probably confused them, so that's not good.
That's something to be said for that, right? You know, they definitely came in. I think everyone beforehand was talking about how much of a favored team they were for like going into the game, whereas that surely going into it gives you, I don't know, overconfidence maybe. I don't know how you feel. dmoule, did you watch it?
So I did not watch it, but I watched the Am stream, and by watching it, there was a lot of mistakes from the Flix team. I don't know what they were doing, but yeah, the nerve struck hard, and like people are surprised, but somehow I'm surprised as well, but somehow I could see some of the players lose that game. Like some of their players are, I'm not gonna say non-chokers, but a bit, yeah.
I think it was like one team was playing with nothing to lose, and one was playing with like everything to lose. Like I guarantee if Flick did not want to lose that game, he's gonna hear about it for a while. So I think it's, you know, they obviously felt the pressure, but also I think it's easy to like just put it off as just that, and I don't think that's true. Like we watched the demo together with like some people like Thomas and these guys, and like even there I feel like they fought, or their common kind of consensus was that it's just like Flick team choking and playing bad. But I was quite impressed by like Natty Newt, honestly. Like I think it's quite clear that they have like a strong main caller who's like they have a plan most of the time, and they're doing the same stuff together. So I don't think you can just put it off as like Flick choking. But I do think that if the Flick team had more time, if the team was like less new and they had more time to like get their stuff together properly, I think they would have won it. So I think it's a combination of like nerves and then the other team playing like better than they expected, like playing more coordinated than they expected, and also just like hitting a lot of shots, like out-DM them a little bit. I think it's like a combination of those things. But I'm excited to see like Natty Newt playing in Prem. To be honest, like it's a shame to not get to play against Flick. I was looking forward to that, but I think you shouldn't take anything away from those guys. Like they've deserved the spot for sure. It's a big surprise for me as well that Flick actually lost it.
well, you might still be able to play against Flick in particular, as Ikadu won't be playing the season. He's got to do university work, so he's joining Natty Nuke most likely, or they're trialing other scouts, so you might actually get to play against Flick in the end. But when you're coming against a team, I think, as the favoured contender, especially against a team like Natty Nuke, who have been together for a long time, or friends for a long time, they kind of give me massive, like, early tier Nunya vibes of all these friends that are kind of mashed together, formed a team, and they just have nothing to lose and they go for it. I've got some stats on the screen for you guys to look at as well. But in particular, is there any players on this team where you're like, that guy is one to watch coming forwards?
I like the guy that's not going to play. That guy looks sick.
He's kind of cracked. Like, he ran through a choke and killed Seeds like 3 times or something. Like, it's kind of insane.
Yeah, he was very good. I think also the roamer. I think I liked a lot of his bombs. He had like pretty nice bombs, like clever bombs, and it wasn't just like that he had nice rockets, but I feel like he had like solid timing with his bombs, and they were like pretty smart. I felt he played pretty smart. You know, obviously it's maybe it's easy to play so that it looks like you're playing smart against a team that's kind of crumbling and doing weird stuff. But I think he's going to be one to look out for. I think his name was Rhythorn, if I remember correctly.
Rhythorn, yeah.
So I think he's one that I'm excited to see how he's going to do.
Well, I was more excited for Zinsolda, but seems like he's not playing anymore. So yeah, I guess the roamer as well. I can't say his name. Rhythorn?
Yeah, Rhythorn, yeah.
Okay, Rhythorn. Yeah, Rhythorn did some really good plays against Seeds 2 days ago. Wait, are these the stats from the last few days?
These 2 maps worth of games, right?
Yep.
Ooh, they are. Okay. I mean, poor stats, but they did the work, so who cares?
Yeah, I think it definitely translates onto their scouts for the most part. I mean, if you look at the deaths and kills on their soldiers versus the deaths and kills on their scouts, it kind of speaks volumes when Hector is going 21-7 on average.
Yeah, I mean, the games were... Okay, slow is the wrong word, but there were stalemates in the games. And when you have stalemates, soldiers' KD just gets worse because you sack them, and generally you don't really sack your scouts. So it's like, yeah, the soldier stats look bad, but I think, yeah, I was impressed with the roamer as well. He had some nice plays.
Let's pretend, guys. Let's pretend. Imagine that you have a tier list in your head, right? And it goes from, you have the S tier, and then you have the A tier. Well, it's gonna be on the stream in a second. S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, and then F tier, because no one cares about E and D tier. And let's just right away like throw it out in terms of sort of relative to the rest of the teams playing in the season so far. We've only talked about 90 Newts so far. Where do you think, in a sort of tier list, where would you put them? Are you gonna put them in F tier?
Actually, I think these guys can grab some maps from multiple teams in the season. So I'll put them in C, but they could grab some maps from any team, maybe except the top 2 or top 3.
Holy crap, we have a tier maker.
We have a tier maker. This is the technology that we've been missing from TF2 for so long. I like this though. I think it's good. Where do you think they place in the season? You have to give me 1 through 8. Where do they end up?
Do I start Caster Curse now or later?
Last. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna. Let's go, Ams. Where do you think these guys end the season? What place?
I feel like I haven't seen enough to, really say what I think. I've just seen 1 game, but I reckon last. Because they are like new players and they don't have that experience. So if I had to bet on it, I'd say they come last. But hopefully not. I want to see them do well. We'll have to see.
All right, let's go ahead to our next team. That's team number 1. Obviously, they made it through, and I think look to sort of the bottom end of the table. Let's take a look at the top. Take a look at the Witness Gaming roster for the upcoming season. You will notice that a certain medic has moved from one team to another. Papi, Would you like to break us down what happened in the off season to your roster?
We just realized Auto was too goated, so we stole him. It's the same when they had Phil. We went, okay, this guy's too good. He needs to join us. No, I mean, Mueller couldn't play anymore because of work. And once Mueller said he couldn't play, we really wanted to play Auto. And then Mueller said, oh no, I think I can play. So we told Auto, no, sorry, Mueller's back. And then Mueller said, no, I really can't play. So then we said, Auto, please join, we're begging. And then he did join. But yeah, we really wanted Auto, but he had to choose if he wanted to leave or not. And I think it probably took him a few weeks to decide. So it was quite a long process. And to be honest, if we didn't get Auto, we didn't have too many other options. We asked some other medics, but none of them really sounded like they wanted to join. So we're very thankful Auto joined.
How's he been fitting in scrims so far? How's it been going? Is he fitting into the team? What's the vibes like?
I mean, he's really good. I think he's really good. I think this season he's the best. He's very different to Mueller, so I'm not even really going to try compare them. But he fits in really well. We basically haven't really told him any of the stuff we do, and he plays, and he's in the right place all the time, making good decisions. So once we actually like get him up to speed with how we play, it should be even better. And he's already great. So yeah.
How do you feel like? Do you think that Auto joining your team has made you stronger? Has it made you weaker? Has it just made you go in a different direction? How are you feeling comparing this with Mueller?
I don't know, that's hard to say. I think just the more seasons we play together, the better we'll be. I'll say it's made us stronger, but that's not like flame to Mueller. That's just the rest of us have an extra season of playing together. But I mean, yeah, it's definitely not made us worse. I'll say that. Like we're either on par or better. So, and that's after like 2 weeks of playing, because we've only, I don't know when we started playing the off season, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. But yeah, probably February is when we started playing. So we've been playing for 3 weeks, and I think we're pretty good.
All right, that's exciting. I think perhaps for you're a Witness Gaming enjoyer. I'm gonna throw the ball over to dmoule. Let's say preseason right now. We've got the tier list open. Witness Gaming. Where do you put these guys?
S plus probably. Like I don't think anyone's gonna touch them this season.
Yeah, obviously they maintained their entire roster. They replaced Mueller with Auto, or rather Ams. How are you feeling about this roster?
Yeah, they're at the top. Witness is in a tier of their own right now. They're very much ahead of everybody else, I think, including TF2 So, yeah, I think the tier list is perfect for this because they really are in their own tier right now, I think.
I'm a bit worried, stroking Papi's ego, but I am interested. How is it playing scrims versus Witness, or playing games versus Witness in general? Do the games feel winnable? What's the vibes like? Is it like you go into the game and it feels like you can win, but they just kind of edge you out, or does it just feel unplayable? What are scrims like?
Like for me against TF2 it's always feels spinnable. It's always like, oh, if it did this thing better, it didn't fuck that thing up, we could have beat them. Against Witness, basically all of last season, I think we just got stumped like continuously. And I think some teams had better results. Maybe it's kind of like a playstyle clash a little bit too. I think Papi probably reads me pretty hard sometimes, that kind of stuff. But like all of last season against Witness, we had pretty poor results all the time. We also didn't scrim them that much. I think recently with our new roster, we had like a slightly like better performance against them, which is nice just because it feels nice to like kind of hang with them a little bit. But it's still like those games they're the best to like learn from, because Witness play they play so clean, they don't really make mistakes that you're gonna be used. They're very like consistent at what they do, and they also got the aggressive stuff down. Like I think no other team in Prem is as good at like dry pushing. Like they'll just be in and they'll just have all the space. They'll know how to shoot, or who to shoot rather. It's this kind of stuff that like separates them like by miles from all these other teams, and it's always difficult to play against them. But it's also the games that you learn the most from, I think. So I'm never opposed to playing them, but for all of last season, I don't think we really stood a chance at all against them. I'm hoping it's going to be better this season.
Do you have any extra comments, Lucky, on Witness Gaming?
Just the goats, man. Like in Europe, look at Papi's little smile there. You can't really compare to that, can you? Like, goddamn. Nah, they're just it's gonna be hard for someone to topple them at this point. Like, if you guys keep coming back with the same roster, the same peeps, they'll Papi toe. I believe that's like just the core of your entire like thing, and obviously everyone else adds their own special thing. But it all comes down, I think, to Papi toe, maybe Domo in there, but you two in particular. Like, if you two are together, you know there's a team on the horizon that's going to smack some people around. So, you know, I feel like I don't really have much to obviously add, because obviously we've had all the Prem people with all their experience. They're also one of the most fun teams to watch. Like, in terms of the amount you learn just by watching their games is kind of impressive.
All right. There we go. You heard it here first. Lucky's cast them into oblivion. They're going to be terrible this season. Thank you, Lucky.
You're doomed now. That's it. You're done.
Letting someone else win. Let's go ahead to one of the other candidates. One of the teams we sort of look to maybe potentially, hopefully, as a viewer, maybe not for Papi, but for everyone else, sort of try to contest Witness. It's TF2 Easy. You look at their roster this time around. Still going to be more Alexi on Scout. He's still running around, but they have poached a little player from AMS. They've got Yeehor joining him on Scout, also known as Nikki. I'm going to keep calling him Yeehor, going to be honest. And then Nubby's still on Roma, Josh is still on Pocket, Nasboy's still on Demo, and then we've got June. She's joining them as well after a really, really good playoff. She's now stepped up in the team that she helped take down. How are we feeling about this roster? First impressions of these changes.
I think June is probably a bit of a downgrade right now. I think June is very, very good, and I think they'll continue to get better. But I do think, you know, Auto is hard to replace, so I think that's gonna set them back maybe a little bit. I guess it depends on how well June adjusts and how well, you know, you can't foresee those things. So maybe he fits them perfectly, and maybe not. You know, we'll have to see. But I think Nikki might be an upgrade from Gazi, in my opinion. And I think Nikki suits that team pretty well. That one's hard to say too, like how it's gonna play out in the long run. Because I know Nikki is kind of like he has his own kind of opinions. He likes to, like, in our team he had a lot to say always. And I appreciated that always, and I always like listen to him because he does have good input and has a lot of experience. But you know, I don't know if there'll be like you know, any kind of conflict with the personalities on that team now with Nikki in it. But I would assume that Nikki is gonna like respect that team in a way where he's not gonna like kind of he's not gonna, I don't know, vent at him about anything. So I think they'll be fine in that regard, and I do think Nikki is a bit of an upgrade. But I think what's most interesting is how they're gonna like bounce back from last season, where they got third place. And they often talk about how they're not really good online. They like, apparently Josh is lagging. They have internet issues. They don't enjoy playing online. All this stuff. So it's really hard. I think it's one of the hardest teams to like predict. Like you could say that they're gonna go second again, and that might happen. But I also think there's a good chance that they'll finish fourth, fifth. This season's really like competitive, and I'm not sure if that team is gonna like keep up, like genuinely, because I think they've shown that they struggle online, and they show frustration sometimes about these problems that they have online. So I would honestly not be so sure about them performing as well now as they have in the past. But I guess you never know, and it's going to depend a lot on how these new players fit in and if they enjoy playing together, I think.
Papi, you've played with or you've played against TF2 Easy both online and online. Do you notice a difference when you play them online? Is there a noticeable difference?
No, not really, to be honest. They do the same stuff. I think we probably play worse. There's a difference, honestly. They're pretty much the same team, online and online. They have very specific things they do that I guess we notice when we play them, because we would like see recurring patterns in what they do. They do the same online. I think. Yeah, I think we've had obviously the Arcadia final was super close, and then I series lower bracket was close, but the groups in the upper bracket weren't. I think it was the same at Arcadia, but I don't think they're different. I mean, Josh not lagging probably helps. I don't know how bad his lag actually is. Sometimes there's been times when we play them where Josh is like warping through walls and stuff, and I mean that's just unplayable. So that's not fun for them. I played with Lucas for a long time, as I guess people remember, and he had that sometimes where a match becomes unplayable because it's 5v6 because you just have a dude that can't really play. But then the rest of the roster changes. I think I agree with Ams on them losing Auto, that June is very good, but maybe not quite at Auto's level yet. But then I think I disagree. I think Gaz was really crucial for them. I think Gaz and Nubby had this like really nice synergy on the flank. I think the times we struggled was when Gazi and Nubby were making like big plays on us on the flank, and we couldn't really deal with them. And I'm not saying Yeehor can't make the big plays, but I don't know how Yeehor and Nubby will coordinate together. I guess we'll see as the season goes on. If they can build some good coordination, then yeah, they can be really scary, and maybe Nikki can be an upgrade. But I think in the like short run, losing Gazi is like a big minus for those guys. Yeah, I think that's all I really have for TF2.
Yeah, when I was talking to Morale about it, he was like pretty upset about it. Well, not upset. I don't know if upset's the right word, but disheartened maybe by it, because he's a pretty core element to their team. Like it's kind of the same for you guys, where you've got these group of players that have been playing together a long time, and you're building all of this skill up together, and you lose Gazi, and then you kind of a little piece of that just dies, and then you have to get a new person in, train them all up again, and bring them up to speed. Like kind of like what you're doing with Auto. But I guess it's going to have similar kind of vibes to that. So I guess we'll see how they roll. But yeah, don't know about you, Juan.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think especially it felt like at times watching them, especially online, it feels like Gazi is one of the only people that like actually make stuff happen. It feels like they rely so much on Nubby and Gazi to make anything happen in their game. And losing Gazi, he's such an X factor. Like even just like, I think maybe as a broadcast, as a caster, I sort of hop on this too much because it is just such a defining thing. But the Gazi Pyro is so real and has been real so many times. And the fact that they just don't have that is actually, I think it's huge. Because like Yeehor is just a much more like normal flank scout player, and not having that is really scary.
I mean, we do have the man himself, dmoule, who is currently sat roster riding on TF2 Easy. How much do you actually see into that?
I kind of agree with Papi. I think I don't think Yeeha is a straight upgrade. I think it's a side grade for now. But I have high hopes in Yeeha. Like he's my boy, and I think he's gonna do well in this team. I think it's gonna take a bit of time to work coordination with Nubby, but it's not the first time that Kunu and Josh played with Yeeha, so I'm not too worried about it. But the team overall is kind of, I mean, I hope they're gonna do well this season, but it's either they're gonna do well or it's gonna be a car crash. And by watching the names on paper, it's literally the only team that could topple maybe Witness, but right now they're not doing too well. And for June, I think she's a downgrade compared to Otto for now, but who knows? She might be the next big thing.
I think June specifically played like really well in playoffs. After Arcadia, I actually didn't get to see too much of her during Arcadia itself, but especially like it felt like specifically versus she at CSG, she like kind of med diffed Condog across.
No
all of
way,
them.
man. Come on.
Dude, that's not hard. I could fucking med this condog.
You don't
Let's keep it
sniff
real.
Condog. You guys have no idea what you're talking about. I'm about to leave this call.
I can say what I like because I know Condog's not watching. I know he's busy. If you went to the VOD, Condog, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna go red in the face in a minute. It's gonna start raging.
I'm gonna get a message at like some point in the middle of the night. It's gonna be like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? All right, let's go back to our tier list here. Where does TF2 Easy end up? We have to place them in a tier. Do they belong in S tier along with Witness, or how we feeling on these guys?
I think it's one tier below Witness, for sure. I don't think Dangerous in tier.
I think I would put them in S. We scrimmed them the other day. We had very close games, so I mean we didn't have our full roster, but the games were pretty close. So I mean I don't consider them a tier below at all. I mean I would always favor my team to win, but I feel like they're pretty good. So
I disagree. I think it's a tier below. Like they might do well against you, but the problem is that they're struggling against the rest.
yeah, okay. I've not actually looked at the logs. Did they lose to other teams, or is it just like close games?
It's close games. They are not losing. Sometimes they're stomping them, but sometimes they're struggling. But struggling like by drawing and stuff, so it's fine, but shouldn't happen in my opinion.
Yeah, nice. Logs is taking 45 minutes to open, so I can't check. Oh.
I think, yeah, lucky. What are you? I think you're the deciding factor here. Are they an A tier team, an S tier team?
Oh no. I kind of got to side with Pappy because, like, if you look at all the seasons that have gone by, it seems like they are definitely up there. Like S tier wise, they're one of the best teams in Europe for sure. Well, top two in Europe. If you're gonna put Winners and Tier 2 Easy right next to each other every single time, it's how it's felt for the last 6 seasons. It feels like at this point. Yeah, I'm sick of an S tier personally, but that's my dumb caster opinion.
I'm not gonna say anything because people will get mad at me if I say anything. I'm not gonna say anything.
Go on, Wandum. Say what you think.
I think
gonna
they're
be
A tier.
mad.
I think they're an A tier team. I think especially with these roster changes, there's no way this season. I think maybe
Are we doing a coin flip?
I think that by the time we hit an ice series event in this summer, then they might be in the same tier. But I think right now, like this flank situation is bad. They need to figure something out.
Bad.
It's just there's some other rosters that we're gonna talk about in a second, and I'm worried. I'm not gonna lie. I think they're an A tier team.
You need to pull out your English dictionary and replace that bad word with something else.
Yeah, I remember back in the day, my English teacher one time I wrote the word nice, and she like highlighted it multiple times in different colors. It's like, find a thesaurus. I'm begging you.
Find a different word.
Yeah. Let's talk about a different team now. We're done with this. Let's talk about Swift. These guys are actually, I checked, if you don't count like Merking Medic for Ams's team, they are all pretty much rookies coming up in the season together. It's Swift. We've got Sneaky, Pandemic on Scout. Pandemic has played Premiership over in Australia. You can do with that information what you will. I'm not sure if... I'm going to be honest, I think from an outsider perspective, it doesn't seem like most of the Premiership teams in Australia are up to par with most of the Prem teams in Europe, but he has sort of played top level over there. He's been around Div 1 for a really long time. Played a couple Premiership qualifiers as well. Then we've got EDK on Soldier. Played Medic Merking for CSG last season. And they've got Danny on Soldier. You might recognize him from the Swift roster that competed at I-69. Sneaky as well on that team. Impo is on Demo Man. Impo played like one game of Premiership like 4 seasons ago or something. And Gregory is on Medic. Thankfully, he's safe and doing well after earthquakes in Turkey. He thankfully is doing okay. How are we feeling about this team? This is obviously a bunch of players that never really played Premiership. How you look at this roster, dmoule? How do you feel about these players?
I mean, I don't really know most of them, But their scouts, though, I know them, and they are really, really good. Like, Pandemic is really good. I remember that when I used to play with Witness, sometimes they called him to Merc as Pocket Scout. I did not know him beforehand, but he did really well. And Sneaky is pretty good as well. Like, I've seen him in Pugs, but the soldiers and the demo, not too sure about them. I don't think they're gonna do well this season. I think if I had to place them, that would be the 8th team.
What about you, Ems? You've played a little bit with EDK. Mentioned it earlier. He came second in the Soldier MGE Cup. That hasn't happened recently. Only losing out to Sil. How are you feeling about this guy? Do you think he's got potential?
Yeah, ADK is awesome. He's playing Soldier for them, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think originally he was playing Demo for them, or he tried out on Demo. So that guy can play like any class. He's pretty good at everything. Like, I think individually, the people on the team, I think they're all okay. I think the team is okay. I think it's kind of like it's pretty guaranteed to be like a low prem team. I think it's gonna be between them and Natty Newt, which is last. I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised if they did better than that. Like, we scrimmed them a fair bit. I've booked a lot of scrims with Sneaky, and we're very comfortable against them. We did actually lose one game against them, 5-0, which was it was a tough one. But besides that, it's been they're okay. You know, they're okay. Nothing more, nothing less. But obviously they can improve. But from what I've seen so far, I think it's gonna be either second last or last, I think. But individually they're all good, and they have potential. And I hope it's not a one season team, because I like a lot of those players, and I think they can do well if they keep at it. You know, I think this season I don't see them getting that many points.
What about you, Papi? How are you feeling about the Swift roster? It's got it quaking your boots. I-69, 4th place.
I mean, they're a top 4 team at I-Series. It's pretty legendary performance. No, but I think they have the potential maybe to fix few maps off people that aren't expecting it. But I'd say they probably range from like 6th place is a best case scenario for them, and last is probably a worst case scenario. But I consider them probably better than the Natty New team, just off names. I mean, I'm not really going off anything. I've not scrimmed the Natty New team. I have played the Swift team before. They're fairly decent. They have some good players. Sorry, Thomas is laughing at my mic. It's making me laugh. Yeah. Talking through print. Yeah, my bad. Sorry about this. But yeah, no, I think they're pretty good.
What about you, Lucky? Well, where are you placing this team? How are you feeling?
When I've got opinions, right? I have casted Australian or OzFortress more times than I care to actually mention, due to messing up my sleep schedule on multiple occasions to cast for them. I've got to say, I think Australia has the best DM out of any region anywhere. Those guys are absolutely insane. They run at each other all game, all time long. There is no strategy. They just launch themselves at each other. If Pandemic has been involved in that absolute madness, they might have a chance. But no, I think genuinely, if I was going to put them up against the Natty Newt team, I think I'd favour the Natty Newt team over them. Clearly, well, not clearly. Well, just because of, number one, Playgray's goated, and number two, Natty Newt have been together a bit longer. That's all I've based it on, though. But individually, I know that Danny's pretty good, and Gregory's actually a pretty good medic. So see how they'll face up.
Let's place them on a tier list. Actually, let's get this tier list out. So we've already placed Natty Newt in C tier. Do you think these guys get to join him in C tier, or do they have the F tier? How are you feeling about these boys?
I think they're like upper C tier. I'd put them as the best C tier team if it was up to me.
What about you, Ems? Where did these boys go?
I think it's a solid C tier team. I guess if they crumble, then they could drop down to F. If they surprise everybody, then they could inch it out and be a B tier team. but I reckon it's a pretty solid C tier team.
You in an accordance to more? Have any protests?
Alright, I was gonna say F, but I think it's too harsh, so I think it's C. But I don't think they're gonna beat Natinude, especially since they, from what I've heard, they grab a phenomenal pocket scout. So
all right, Lucky. Final protest. C
I think
or
it's
F
C.
tier?
Yeah, I think it's C tier.
Okay.
Just
nice.
Yep.
Right. Next team up on the chopping block. This is a new team. Didn't really see it play last season, but it's Noob Panzer by tf2cases.com, and features Voxy and Shocky on scouts. We've got Hugo. He's called Puck on ETF2L. It's Hugo. And Diski on soldiers. We've got Joe on demo man and Piggles on medic. This is a team that I'm looking at this team. I think this team might be contesting a second place finish. Have any of you guys scrimped this team? How have they been performing?
We played them a fair bit. I think we played them a lot with me on soldier, and I think they beat us pretty consistently when we were trying that lineup out. They are obviously like good, and I agree they could make like a really good run next season. Like I see this team like doing really well against us and TF2 Easy. And just generally, it's a good team. I think it's a better team than it looks on paper. Maybe it looks like that to me because I don't know some of those players that well. Like I don't really have any experience playing against Joe or with Joe. I don't know anything about him. Apparently, he's like a main caller for them, or he's like leading the team. I think Piggles is someone who's like for like a long time he's been known as kind of like an up and coming player, right? And he's obviously very good. And I think this team, they do some like kind of slightly like unconventional stuff. You know, they're not afraid to try things out. I think they play a fair bit of crits, and they push the pace a little bit. But yeah, it's a hard one. I think this team is the hardest to like predict for next season. Like I'm comfortable against them now. I'm confident against them now that I'm scouting. But I think they could do very well. But if I had to place a bet, I think they would be they would probably be like fourth place, kind of like mid prem. I think they've had a good start, but I see that kind of like degrading a little bit at some point. I see people starting to figure them out more, and I think there's some kind of weak spots in that team that I think are not going to be like consistent enough. They're not going to be like good enough. I think Shocky's good. He's a good player, but I'm much more comfortable playing against those scouts than some other scouts in Prem. Like I think they're good, but and they have potential to go like second, like you said, but I doubt it. I think it's gonna be a mid Prem team, I think.
How are you feeling about this team, Papi? They scary?
I completely disagree with Ant. I think they're really good. I think they're one of the teams with the most potential this season. Like, I think Voxy's really good. I think Voxy's a very good player, and he's like, I guess the core kind of like him. It's a Voxy Hugo core. Is kind of how I see it. They've not played for a while as well. Voxy and Hugo, like the last time they were together was like Voxy, Hugo, Mac. I don't remember when that was, but they were a very good team back then. And I think now with the addition of like Adiski and Piggles, they have Joe on demo. I think Joe's very good. I think these guys are like, I think it's really hard to predict playoffs this season, but I think I would give these guys a spot in playoffs, definitely. I think they could be really good. I mean, I think they could even give us quite a lot of trouble as well. Like when we play them, we get annoyed by the way they play the game sometimes. Like, me and Sil struggle playing against Voxy, kind of like he just kills us, and we kind of get mad. So I think they could be really good.
I want to give a quick shout out to Pickles. Actually, at Arcadia, this guy was an absolute menace. When he played against the Germans, which did feature Voxy and Shocky, every time Shocky died, Pickles would scream "Let's go Epsy" at the top of his lungs. Shout out the good old days. Bring out the crits every 5 minutes. I think JMax posted it in chat. Pickles at the moment is averaging over 5 kills or over 5 crits as a map. So a lot of crits. How are you feeling about this team? What does it look like to you?
I've played a few nights with them instead of Adeski, so I'm not gonna talk about Adeski because I have no idea about him. But this team is really, really good. Like, they have potential. Shoki, I had some mixed feelings about him before, but from playing with him, he's really, really good, I think. And people tends to forget that he was literally a legend 10 years ago. I mean, it's 10 years ago, but he was literally dominating Europe. And he's really good as a flank scout. That's all I have to say. He's always been super annoying to play against, especially as soldier. So I'm expecting big things from Shoki, especially if he. I don't know how keen he is though, but if he's keen, I mean, it's gonna be good. And for the rest, Hugo and Voxy are not people to sleep on. Like they are really good, and they are kind of main calling for this team, especially Voxy. And for Piggles, like I did not know him much. Like I played against him a fair bit when he was playing with some max team that were like mid-table, and I think he's really, really good, and he could be underrated as a medic. So I think these guys are a third place contender, maybe more, maybe less, but they are definitely at the top.
How are you feeling about these guys, Lucky? What's the vibes? What's the cast the curse vibes?
Oh, don't make me do it. The vibes are that if you haven't played with Piggles before and you think someone else is main calling on the team, chances are Piggles is screaming at them to do stuff. That guy's the most vocal player that I know. He, if you go to a LAN, chances are you'll hear Piggles before you get in the building. But yeah, you've got a good call there. You've got Voxy and Hugo, like you mentioned, Papi. Those two are just absolute demons. If you've ever watched a Voxy stream and you just watch that guy play anything, the man hits everything. But also bringing a Disky back, you got that old talent, Shocky old talent as well. And Garbage has always been pretty good. So yeah, overall shapes up to be a pretty decent roster, I think. So I'm excited to see how they do, because this is when you look at the teams in the season, you always think about who's going to be top one or maybe top two. But I think that New Panzer definitely could give some running to TF2 Easy potentially. So if on a good day, so we'll see what happens.
How are you feeling about these guys on a potential tier list here? Where are they? Where do these guys belong? Where do we place these?
I mean, I think A. I don't really know where else. A minimum, I would say, but we've not seen them play any matches yet, so they might be absolutely terrible and come 8th, but if their scrims are anything to go by, then I would just say A.
Are we in agreement across the board? What's any protests?
I think B. I think there might be A, but I'm gonna say B. That's my gut instinct.
Definitely A.
All right, Lucky. Final protest. Any protest?
Slap of an A tier.
All right. Let's go ahead to the next team now. We've got, I think Foreign called them Cornstarch Gaming. Comedy Shorts Gaming. Got a few roster changes, actually. Got Loopy stepping in for Yeehaw, coming in. And then we got Tiger coming in as well. Ams, actually, take us away. What happened in this offseason? Because you guys changed a bit, right? Coming into the season. There are a few iterations of this roster.
It was a pretty eventful offseason for sure. First of all, it was a pretty disappointing finish, I guess. It was really our goal to at least be Flick team. It was our first season, so you know, whatever. I played pretty bad in playoffs, but you know, it happens. Sure, it happened to me. Really, I played this game for like 10 years, but you know, it happened to be lost. And then, first of all, I think Yeehaw, right after the games, he said he's not really interested in playing anymore, and he was considering quitting. So we started looking at like scout options straight away, and then Yeehaw was like, "Oh, never mind, I'll play." I had like a little talk about like thinking long term. Like, yeah, let's just we stick together, we'll keep at it, we'll be the best one day, that kind of thing. And then I feel like that kind of changed Yeehaw's mind a little bit, and he was on board after all, and we had six people together. Everything was looking good. We decided to take a little break, And then I think the first thing that happened was that Charlie decided to leave. Actually, no. Before that, actually, Fancy and Horns trialed for Flex Team. That was like something we kind of expected a little bit. Something I kind of saw coming. Like when I was watching the playoffs and how they beat TF2 Easy, I was kind of like, it kind of clicked in my head, like, yeah, they're gonna want Fancy, and I wouldn't know if Fancy would join them or not, because I just played one season with him, and he seems like the kind of he's like an ambitious kid, he wants to win, and he's very good. So I figured we might lose him. So we had like a little talk about it. Basically, I told him like, yeah, you want to go for it, you want to play with Flick, go do it. Just your spot is, you have your spot for as long as you want, and the same applied to Horns. And then eventually, I don't remember what exactly happened, but in the end, they decided to stay with us. So, so yeah, we had 6, and we were looking forward to going into the next season with the same lineup. And then Charlie let me know one day, I think after some like pretty harsh like scrims we had, he just let me know that he's not enjoying it. I think there was a little bit of conflict in the team between some of the players. I wasn't really aware of it until I talked with Charlie about it. But in the end, the main reason was just that he wasn't enjoying it, and also just the fact that some people weren't getting along, I think, complicated things. So he left, and that was like, yep, fine. He's out. We started thinking about replacements, and then shortly after, Yeho asked me to talk with him in Mumble, and he's like, yo, I'm trialing for TF2 Easy. I was like, yep, okay, that's fine. Go do the trial. You want to play with us? You'll play with us. You join them, whatever. And he trialed for them. He played with them, joined them, and then we were down 2 players. And then we decided. I was kind of like, because I had a pretty bad performance in playoffs. I was kind of thinking like I want to change something. I wanted to try playing Soldier. So we did those scrims for a little bit with me and Soldier, and they weren't that great. I think my Soldier is not really what it used to be, first of all, but also I couldn't really like call. I couldn't control the team from Soldier. I couldn't like I feel like I was still like out of the action, so we were like lacking calls all of a sudden. Like we had really sick scout trails. We had like Boulder, we had Boulder trolling Scout, and he's obviously like insane. And perhaps he would have even joined us. He had some net issues, but even with Boulder, like Boulder and Loopy on Scout, which is I think a pretty insane Scout duo mechanically. And otherwise too, I think Boulder's a smart player as well. We just were lacking in the comms, like it just wasn't. We didn't have that kind of leadership. I couldn't do it from Soldier the same way I did from Scout, so we ended up not doing that. And now we've got Loopy on Scout. Loopy was good buddies with Fancy and those guys, and he's very good. I like playing with him. He's humble. He's playing to learn. He's got good mechanics. I think he plays quite smart. I'm very happy to be playing with Loopy. And it's a little bit easier playing with Loopy than Yeho, because Yeho is a really experienced guy. He always had a lot to say. Sometimes it was a bit frustrating. I think sometimes I love Yeho. He's like, as a person, he's really cool. I consider myself good friends with him still, and I have no like hard feelings about him leaving. But he was a bit pushy sometimes, where he kind of like wanted to push the team really hard to get better. I think sometimes, in my opinion, sometimes it may have done more damage than good. But it's understandable, it's an ambitious player. But Loopy doesn't have that. Loopy's very easy, super easy teammate who just frags hard, calls what's needed to call. I like playing with him. And we struggled to find a Soldier. We tried some people. We tried Opti. He was alright. But in the end, because we were kind of out of time and because Kondok was away for a couple of weeks, we've now settled with Figer. And the kind of arrangement we have with Figer is like he's gonna play at least this season with us. If he enjoys it, then maybe he'll play more. But presumably it's kind of like a 1-season thing, kind of like he's helping us out to get through this, like people leaving and stuff. So, but Figer's Figer, he's insane. He's like one of the few players who, like, when I'm doing some aggressive stuff, taking some uber super deep or something, like he's just there. He's kind of fits perfectly into what I want for my pocket. He doesn't play scared, and he hits like crazy rockets. So far it's been incredible with the new guys, and I'm happy with the way everything's turned out. Obviously, there's always like a bit of a honeymoon period with this kind of stuff, and there's always ups and downs. So we haven't really had our first like down yet. It's just been good, like smooth riding since we locked down this roster. So we'll see what happens when it, if we start to struggle a little bit at some point. But so far it's very exciting. I think this team is a lot better than what we had last season, and I'm a lot more confident in my main calling as well and just my own gameplay. So I think this season is gonna be our breakthrough season, so to say.
How about you, Papi? Have you guys been scrimming each other at all? Actually, you guys played each other yet in the new rosters?
Yeah, these guys are trash. They suck so bad. I mean, until they kick Condog, they're gonna make no progress. Let's just be real.
It's actually the realest thing I've ever heard from an interview in my life. That Condog guy, wowee.
Condog, Jesus. No, I think they're pretty good. I think actually the roster changes. In the beginning, I felt like, changing players is always bad, but I actually think they're probably pretty good changes. Loopy seems really good. I think giving Ams, Bill, Condog another season together will be nice. Like, how long was your break, Ams? 2 years? A year? I don't remember.
I think like 3 years. At least close to 3 years, yeah.
Fuck, okay, my bad. So yeah, you came out from a 3-year break, you played 1 season, so there's no reason to judge after 1 season, It's, a season is like 2 months. It's like 8 weeks of scrims or something, so it's actually not that long. So yeah, I think they look pretty good. We played them the other day, and I think we had like 3 close maps, so I think they're much more aggressive than they used to be, which is surprising because they used to be aggressive, but now it's like, you turn the corner, there's 2 skulls Ubered on your face, so it's you have to be careful. Well, we have to be careful when we play them to not like just walk into the Ubers and stuff. I think they're pretty good.
What about you, dmoule? Do you have any opinions, these guys?
Yeah, I do have some opinions about them. I think they are really, really good, but I think they got losing Iha was a big one. I think Loopy's pretty good, but he's still a downgrade to Iha. And I don't think losing Charlie matters that much since they have Tiger now. And I mean, Charlie was hard to play with, as far as I know, in terms of mentality and stuff like that. So I think Tiger should be better, but I've had my my experience with Tiger. But I think these guys are gonna do well. I don't know how they will placed, but I think they're gonna do well. Like Amps is slowly getting back to shape, and yeah, I think it's gonna be good.
What about you, Lucky? How are you feeling these guys? The roster changes. Where are they going?
I'm always excited to see Tiger and Ams. So
yeah.
2 big names. Happy to see them back in Prem. Also, watch Connor drop 5 Ubers in a game. It's gonna be great. Can't wait. No,
I'm excited.
It's gonna be great. What about you, dude?
Ams, be honest with me. Am I going to see the crits Brass Beast heavy loss hold in an official?
Oh yeah, it's like it's what we do now.
Yeah.
No one has found a workaround. Maybe Witness don't die to it as much as the rest, but we're gonna keep doing it until people learn or find a way to work around it. But technically, I don't think anybody should even bother looking into it because it is uncounterable. It is like we did actually solve the game. We actually solved last holds. So I don't think anybody should look into it that much. They should just focus on other areas of the map because on last we're just gonna be kings always. So it is what it is. It's too bad. The other teams are gonna adapt it eventually when they realize it's the way to go.
So let's be completely honest and humble. Ams, what tier are you placing yourself in this season?
B. That's the second best, right? Oh, A tier. Yeah.
Yes.
Same as TF2 I put Winners above us, and I put us in the same as TF2 I think that's how I think of it right now.
What about you guys? How are you guys feeling about these guys? Cornstarch Gaming, Comedy Shorts Gaming. I don't remember the other ones.
This season's so hard. I'd probably put them in like bottom A. I think they're probably if I'm being completely honest, I'd probably say they're a little bit worse than the Voxy team, like just as a pure expectation. But I would probably still put them in A. I mean, this season's just so hard to predict playoffs because I think there are 6 teams that is extremely competitive to make playoffs. So these guys could finish the league in first, second, third, or fourth, but they could also finish the league in 6th, and I wouldn't be surprised because it just comes down to a few, mistakes in the season or a few plays that either go your way or don't go your way, and that will change whether you come 3rd or 6th. So I think it's really hard. And the 2 last teams that we've not mentioned as well, like, I think it's really hard. But I mean, I would put them in A. I'll just add that. I would put them in A.
What about you, dmoule?
Put them in A as well. Like, I do think the amppis team is pretty good, but they are behind Voxy's team.
You lucky?
Yeah, I'd stick them in A tier, to be honest. They got some they got some good players. I think Loopy is one to watch out for as well, especially out of the upcoming players that we've had for the last few seasons. He's definitely one to watch.
Let's talk about a different team now. Place these guys solid in A tier. CSG. Next up is 4Fence. They put Alien Smiley this time around. He's playing Scout. QB on Scout as well. Then they've taken... Well, I heard at LAN multiple times people say that maybe Rons was one of the best soldiers in Europe. He's now roaming for these guys. Brudgeman still on Pocket, and got Deli joining from the League of Shadows as well on demo, and then Juxta on med. How do you feel about these guys? This French team. Lucky, how you look at these guys? How are you feeling?
Well, when I watched the Papi stream the other day, and he was playing in a pug, and he was playing against a certain soldier. I think he was called Raccoon Man Rons, and he punched his... Well, I heard a noise, and I can't play against this guy, man. So he must be pretty good if Papi is saying that. So yeah, Ron's pretty good. But there's always got to be one French team in Pro, man, or every single season. And if they don't show up, it's upsetting. And usually they do solid mid/bottom table performance, and I don't think we're gonna see that change for this season. I don't think.
Well, these are your countrymen. How are you feeling about this roster?
I think they're gonna cause trouble in the top. Like they are the dark horses of the season. Like they got some straight upgrades, and they should do well, in my opinion.
Who are the players? I mentioned Rons earlier. Who are you actually looking at to be the big playmakers of this team?
In my opinion, it's gonna be QB. Like QB is very, very good. He's getting better and better, and Brugman as well. Deli is a hit or miss, in my opinion.
What about you, Ems? How are you feeling about this French squad?
Yeah, like I was just thinking, you guys rate the Voxy team really highly. Personally, I'm like way more worried about this team, the Voxy team. I think that this team, maybe the scouts are gonna be a question mark in my eyes, like if they're gonna perform up to the level that's needed. But I think this team it has potential to be very good, and I'm actually a little bit worried about this team. And it's the kind of team that I like. They have some players who are so good mechanically that if they get their timing right and they play well, it's going to be really hard to like shut them down. Like I find Rons for me is like one of the hardest soldiers to play against. Like if you exclude the soldiers from Witness and you have too easy. I like Nabi is hard to play against too. I think Rons is like up there, and every time I talk highly of Rons, someone always like shuts me down and talks about how he's a toxic teammate and blah blah all this stuff. But I'm gonna continue to rate him very highly. I think he's one of the best soldiers right now. Mechanically, he has good timing. He has good comms. When he's not tilting or whatever. Maybe I've not played with him enough. I've heard some bad things obviously about how he is his teammate, but I continue to think he's a very, very good soldier. We trialed him for our team, and I 100% would have picked him up if he didn't decide to play with these guys instead. So I think this team is... I put them above Voxy team. If my team is bad, this team could beat my team, whereas I don't think the Voxy team can. So I rate these guys really high, mostly because of I think Rons and Deli are players that I find pretty hard to play against. I think it's going to come down to how their scouts do, if this team can really unlock their full potential. So, but I haven't played against this team that much. It's just kind of like what I've seen so far and what my instincts say when I look at this group of players. This team is more worrying to me than the Voxy team. But I'm sure, especially about Rons, many people would disagree. But I'm yet to see anything that would prove to me that he's not one of the best, because I think he has like crazy impact. Really, I think he's very good.
I think it was especially in like playoffs after Arcadia, like playoffs last season. I think it was him, dmoule, and then Fancy Elf as well, that sort of combined and managed to step up. I think honestly, it felt like League of Shadows last season. There were various points in that season where Rons and dmoule were like hard carrying that team. That Soldier duo was really, really sick, and I think probably Rons might have been behind a lot of it. It was really cool to watch, because honestly, it really did feel like in that game versus TF2EZ that they kind of like hard Soldier diffed TF2EZ. Makes me really excited for what Rons does in the future. I want to make a new frag video. He hasn't done that in a while. Can we get that happening? Rons? We in the chat? Bro?
Ron's Legacy when?
No, we just make like a new frag. He hasn't posted a frag video in like 7 months. What's going on? I watched him hit air shots at LAN. I haven't seen them anywhere.
Start a TFTV thread. Maybe someone will care.
Yeah. Alright, guys. Where are we putting them? Where we slotting them in?
Whoa, hold up, Mr. Host. Where's my take? Come on.
Pappy, what's your
I
take?
get no take.
Pappy.
We heard enough, Pappy. We heard enough, man.
Dude, I have to listen to all these terrible takes. Nah, I'm good. I agree. I actually think their Soldier duo is sick. I think their Soldier duo might be the best Soldier duo we play against. I think Bruce and Rons are really good. I think they're better than all the other Soldier duos apart from probably Nobby and Josh. Like, I think they are really, really good. But I'm probably more skeptical about the rest of their team. I don't know. I think who is the med? Anyone? No, I don't remember.
Juxta.
Oh, Juxta. Yeah, it's not Patchouli anymore. Okay. I think it depends on how Juxta plays with Alien Smiley a lot, because I think the soldiers will have good value in the game. But I think Alien's pretty. What's the word? Solid. He's like a solid combo scout. Like he doesn't feed. Like he will finish them up with 10 deaths, and I think that's good for that team. Like he gives them structure. It just depends how well they come together, and I think it's Brugeman main calling, so it depends how Bruges main calls as well. But these guys could be really good. Like again, this team could finish 6th, or they could finish, first, second, third, fourth, and I wouldn't be surprised. Like there's just such a big range. It just depends how these matchups play out in the season. But they're definitely a scary team, I think, for anyone to play against.
All right, now it's time for tier list. I zoom my brain ahead of myself. Pappy, where'd you put them in the tier list? Are these another A tier team, or are they down in the B tier? How are you feeling about these guys?
I think they're A tier, I'd say. I don't really think you can put them anywhere else. We've not actually played them that much, but just from the players, and like I've seen some of their scrim results, I think they've got to be A. I don't know where about, like, ordering these A tier teams is impossible, but they're in the A tier, I think.
What about the rest of you, Ams? Where'd you put these guys?
Yeah, I think it's A. I'd be surprised if it's anything but like A, like top A, I would say. I think it's gonna be a very good team.
And you, dmoule, what about you? Where are these guys going?
Definitely A. Like, they could go second, but they could go as well fifth. Like, they don't have any like strong structures or main call, in my opinion. But if they don't get too emotional during the season, they could do well.
And you, Lucky, how we feeling about these guys?
Yeah, probably A tier.
All right. 4 A tier teams. 3 A tier teams. I put TF2 easy in my A tier. I'm going to be honest. I've got a separate one running. 3 A tier teams, 2 S tier teams. Not bad. Final one on the list is Shadow Wizard Buddy Gang.
Mac roster?
You can, yeah, it features Af.
Next.
Af and Varney on Scouts, and got Opti on Roma and Geordie on Pocket, I'm assuming. Mac is playing Demo Man. Patchouli's on Med. Pappy, how are we feeling about these guys?
Dude, the Shadow Wizards, you just can't, you think they're gone and they just keep coming back. They're falling off the cliff, they get back up. It's like a lamb. You just, you can never write them off. Max too good. He always comes back. I actually think this team will probably get playoffs. Like, I don't know. I think Af is really, really good. It's a Mac team. I think that they're very stable, is what I'd say. Like when we play against them, they're one of the most stable teams. Like they don't do crazy chaotic stuff. And then they have really good DM on like pretty much every player. I think the only thing is Geordie isn't particularly experienced. I know he's kind of been around, but I think most of his experience is probably Div 1 and then LAN. I might be wrong with that, but I don't know how many times Geordie's actually played Prem. And then they have Opti, who's coming back from a break, so it depends how Opti does. But we played them the other night, and I think they're actually pretty good. Like, especially the DM on the Scouts, I think is good.
What about the rest of you guys? Ams, how do you feel about these guys? The Shadow Wizard Money Gang.
I think I'm yet to play them. I haven't seen them play or played against them. I don't know much about them. I don't know that much about all the players. I know Af is solid. I think Af is maybe like yet to like prove himself really. But I think everybody knows he's good. He's like a smart player. He has good mechanics. But I second Pappy on the fact that I think Mac is like a player to talk about on this team. I think when we were like preparing against Mac's team for the qualifier last season, like I was talking to my team about how you shouldn't underestimate a player like Mac or like a leader like him, because he has like a pretty good like leash around his players. He has like I think he's got that kind of quality that you need to like lead a team, right? He's like people listen to him. He's got the right kind of like authority, you could say. And he's I think he's good at like ironing out these issues. Like Pappy said, they're like very I don't remember the word Pappy used, but they're very like together. They're like composed. They don't make many mistakes, right? That's how I understood it. They're like they're very well whipped, you could say. I think Mac is good at that kind of stuff, and I think he's a very good leader. Based on what I've seen, I haven't played with him that much, but I think that's something that might like separate this team and really like bring it to pretty good heights. Just because like players like that, I think are rare. Like leaders like that are quite rare, and they can really like make a team. They can take a group of people and like make it into something really good. And I think what Mac did with his team last season, which ended up in D1 because they got a pretty like unlucky seeding, I guess, in the qualifier. I think it could have easily been a Prem team. I think what he did with those players, and the way he called for those guys, I think I'm excited to see like how it's gonna work out with this team, and I think it definitely has a lot of potential. And I think players like him, like leaders like him, are rare. It's enjoyable to watch someone like that play and call, and yeah, the way he does it, I'm a fan from what I've seen.
About you, dmoule? How's the feels on this team? Where'd you rate them?
I disagree. I don't think they're gonna get playoffs. Like there's no way they're getting playoffs compared to the other teams. But I think they're gonna gatekeep some of them of playoffs. Like Mac is a strong leader, but I don't feel their DM that much compared to the rest. And I have mixed feelings about Patchouli. Like Patchouli can get some really good games or crush the hopes of his teammates. But yeah, I think Af is really good though. and Opti as well. But yeah, I'll have high hopes on them.
All right, Lucky. Any final words on these guys?
Final thing to add, Mac team. I mean, it's a Mac team, like we said before. They're going to keep coming back, but Opti is kind of goated, and he's kind of I think they're going to be the star on this roster a little bit. I mean, Wandum and Afa are both pretty solid. Geordie is pretty solid, but I don't know how they really compare against some of the other teams that we've got coming up. I don't know if they make playoffs, but they're definitely good. I know it's a pretty shit take, but there you go.
Yeah. So where do you put them in the tier list, Lucky?
Tier list. Probably B.
B tier.
Yep.
What about you guys? Where do you think these guys belong?
Yeah, I agree. B tier. B tier is good for them, I think.
Oh yeah. And Amps, do you agree?
Yeah, I think B is like a good starting place for them. They could be A, they could be C. I think there's the chance of them being A is like just as big in my mind as them being a C tier team. I think it's it looks like a good high mid prem team that has the potential to be really good, or then it has the potential to fall off. I can't say which is going to happen, but I hope they do well, honestly, because yeah.
What about you, Papi? What's the vibes? Are you in agreement?
Yeah, I agree with Hans. I think they have the potential to be really good, and then they have potential to suck sweet ass. So it really depends. Depends on how Mac's feeling on the day. I mean, I saw some clips from the Div 1 Grand Final of Mac bombing without a flash on demo. So if he does that, he'll keep it up. But no, I think they have potential to do well. I think their range is from like third to sixth. Like, I think every team in A and B here can range from like first to sixth, pretty much. It's just hard to order it. If you make us do predictions, I have no idea how it's gonna work because it's literally impossible. At least I think I would just be. I don't know what I'd base it off. Just random player opinions on why I would put people in playoffs and others not.
I think actually, just to end it off, you give me a really good idea. Pappy, 1 to 8, where do you think these teams are finishing?
Wait, you actually want me to do it?
No.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you.
It takes too long. We're gonna have to sit here.
Nice. Easy.
Are you winning though? You gonna win this season?
Oh, of course. On God. No cap.
All right.
Yeah. I just put some old Drake on and blast some boots.
That's what we like to hear.
Yeah. Get a mumble music bot in. Just start blasting Drake and nothing else.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I think we're rounding the ends. I wrote some stuff down about pick bans and maps, but honestly, I feel like it's best to just cut it where we are right now. So I think I'll give the floor to each of you one at a time. Get some shout outs out. Anything else you want to talk about? I'm going to keep the floor on Pappy for now. Any final words?
Yeah, shout out to my team and Witness, and anyone else who, I don't know, we speak to with the team and stuff. That helps. One thing I would say, the maps for ETF2L, dear God, why are we playing some new maps without asking anyone and everyone hates them? We don't even get to play Badlands, like it's not even an option to vote for. I don't know.
It's all the Zoomers, man. There's something wrong with this. I think there's enough boomers in this mumble that will all agree that we should just be playing Badlands.
I mean, I'm not even that boomer, I don't think, but like.
Happy, your first season is season 22 or season 21. You're a boomer now.
That's not the boomer, dude. Like, I started playing when AMS was Prem playoffs. Like, it's not boomer. But yeah, I don't know why everyone hates Badlands. It's not even an option. We have to play some metalwork with a shuttered door inside a room, like, I don't know, dude. And then they've just updated Granary, like, just said, like, yeah, updated Granaries in the pool. I updated Granary might be better because the spawn is fixed. So I don't know if people know, but like red team, if you play red on Granary, your demo gets to mid quicker on average. So maybe it's good they fixed Granary, but they did change the map at the same time, so it's a little confusing why they don't just fix the spawns and leave the map the same. But yeah, that's a long shout out. But yeah, hopefully we can get some more player admin communication going in the 10-month off season after this season. That would be nice.
All right, dmoule, how any shout outs, final words?
Yeah, shout out to my team. I hope we're gonna do well next season. Now, for real, I think like you guys are playing a new Metarox. I don't get it why they changed the doors and stuff. Like I think the things that were supposed to be changed were related to last, but they changed the second for some reason. I don't understand like what happened here.
They update the skybox though. It's kind of nice. It's no longer dark. It's like dawn or dusk. Which
yeah, I guess. But all right, I'm gonna continue my shoutouts. Shoutouts to some old Frenchies that don't play the game anymore. I don't watch this. Shout out to Akanta. Shout out to TF2Easy, I guess, since I'm rostered in this team. And yeah, that's all.
All right, Ams, your turn.
Yeah, shout out to Fancy Loopy, Ons, who else is on my team? Shout out to all my teammates except Kondog.
Yeah, fuck
And yeah, I don't care about any of this map business really. I don't care what maps I play, but when you talk about Badlands, I get emotional, man. You bring that back.
Yeah.
Like people are wondering why the game's dying, and you just took Badlands out. Like I come back and it's just not there. Like where the hell is Badlands? Why is it not there? Just bring it back. Let's just get it over with. It's the best map, and you know everyone's gonna be happy. So that's my take. But yeah, thanks for having me, and it's gonna be a fun season. I think gonna be one of the most competitive seasons probably ever. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right, Lucky. How about you? Final words. Final shout outs.
Yeah, shouts to you, Wan, for hosting, so I can be a potato and give my bad takes every 5 seconds. Shouts to Papi Ams and dmoule for joining us. Shout out to the Scottish dwarf that lives in my basement. Shouts to Juju, Moralexi, Tantrum, Piggles, all those peeps. Yeah, big shouts.
All right, that's it. I don't have any shout outs. I have a shout out one guy, and wow, he whispered me, said I had a cool character name. Shout outs to that guy. Don't know who he is. Never talk to him again. And besides that, I don't know. Yeah, I agree. Bring back Badlands. It's literally the best map, and we're not playing it because a bunch of Zoomers saw the fast, last cap time. Like, come on, grow up. Let's play a real map. Bring it back. Can you guys believe I played a Pug? I played a Ramix, and no one in the Ramix besides me knew what the mid-fight on Badlands was. Like, that's horrible. We need to fix this. Bring back Badlands. That's it for us for now. This was fully charged. Stay tuned to TFTV because the season's starting in for 4 or 5 days, whenever Prem Sud's being actually scheduled, probably on Thursday next week. Season's upon you.
Come on, man. Come on, Mr. Host. It starts on Sunday.
It's on Sunday. Please don't be on Sunday. We're playing next week. See you guys. Bye.